he's just completely surrounded by people. Like, how can you even see anything?
Is Joe Burrow the new Tom Brady?
You can't see the ball game popping out until the play was obviously over. So I don't know.
Yeah. He was. I think he was down. I think both teams looked bad. Joe Burrow with 260 yards, Kirk Cousins with 350, Dalvin Cook with a huge maybe fumble. Jamar Chase didn't drop a single ball. I think he was targeted 7 times, caught all 7. All right, and
Chase, talk about a change from preseason to actual season. Looked fantastic versus preseason. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, he's dropping everything," and then he's like, "Okay, now we're playing real football. Let me just get this stick 'em on and look great." Him and T. Higgins looked like a nice duo. As we said, probably should have gone with O-line, but they got the game. They won. Looked solid. Vikings were kind of back and forth.
It wasn't.
They look about the same.
It wasn't
as last year.
It wasn't good football, but it was entertaining to watch. Speaking of entertaining, guys, we have a returning guest, Tony. What is up?
How are you, gentlemen?
Oh, we're doing good. We're going to talk about 2 more games real quick, then we're going to go to break, all right?
Uh-huh.
All right. So, Bengals, Vikings, craziness. 49ers, Lions. They almost let the Lions come back. Jared Goff.
You hear coach speak of resting on your laurels and not letting a team back in the game, and that's what they did. They were taking a dump on the Lions' chest, and then they, for some reason, decided to let the Lions, get up again. Obviously they held on, but it looked like Detroit could come back. It was a 8-point game, and then did Goff throw a? No, he just threw a terrible pass. I think for the last play of the game, he threw it out of bounds or something on 4th down.
Yeah, I will say though, I am thankful that one of my favorite receivers in the NFL is Deebo Samuel, because I drafted him in our fantasy league and he went off for 42 points for me.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty damn pumped. Yeah.
Truthers on him and T.J. Hawkinson are definitely happy.
Yeah. Jimmy Garoppolo, 314 yards and a touchdown. Jared Goff, 338 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Elijah
looked really solid, but I don't know how much of a test Detroit's defense is.
Yeah, Elijah Mitchell.
You also have to take into account the fact that Jimmy G is week in and week out thinking I have to perform. If not for my starting job, for my next location.
Right.
Right.
Elijah Mitchell, a relatively unknown running back from Louisiana, 104 yards, a touchdown. Jamal Williams, 9 carries, 54 yards for a touchdown. Deebo Samuel with 9 catches, 189 yards and a touchdown. T.J. Hawkinson, 8 catches, 97 yards and a touchdown. I mean, if you like offense, then this is the game for you. If you like defense, then you want to ask yourself, where the fuck are my 49ers? Because they're supposed to be a strong defensive team, and they just looked lost on defense, especially at the end there.
Yeah, thankfully they had a couple of big plays earlier in the game, because I started them in one fantasy league, and they still got me some points, even though they gave up a ton at the end. Also, Trey Lance with his first NFL touchdown coming in for a quick play. That was fun.
1 of 1 for a touchdown.
Yep.
So,
talk about efficiency.
Mac Jones threw a touchdown. Zach Wilson threw a touchdown. Trey Lance threw a touchdown. Trevor Lawrence threw a touchdown. And Justin Fields ran for a touchdown. All 5 rookie quarterbacks scored a touchdown week 1.
In their first NFL
in their first NFL game.
Has that ever happened?
I don't know.
5 rookie quarterbacks have scored a touchdown in their first game? Probably not. But how many times have 5 quarterbacks gone in the first round?
Yeah, not too often. But yep, 49ers Lions was another entertaining game for the last 2 minutes. Let's move on to another blowout, and then we're going to take our quick break. Cardinals and Titans.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Jones with 5 sacks. Jesus, that's just fucking crazy. Kyler Murray with 5 touchdowns. Let's just go through the stats real quick. Kyler Murray, 289 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Ryan Tannehill, 212 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Neither running back looked like what we thought they'd be. Chase Edmonds, only 63 yards. Derrick Henry, only 58 yards. Hopkins, 2 receiving touchdowns, 6 catches, 83 yards. Leading receiver for the Titans was Chester Rogers, who had 4 catches for 62 yards. Not a good game if you're a Titans fan. Great game if you're a Cardinals fan. Because all you've been hearing about the Cardinals is, well, they're an okay team, but they're not good enough to make the playoffs. That offensive line isn't going to do Kyler any favors. Well, I mean, that really was just proven wrong. Because he lit it up. So, I feel pretty good.
Their defense looked mighty impressive. They had a whole lot of changes on defense this offseason. And so far it looks like it's working wonders. Titans are a good team, arguably one of the better teams in the NFL, and they looked like they had nowhere to go. Obviously game script worked against Derrick Henry. He's not exactly a pass catcher, so once you're down by 20 points or more, they got to start making adjustments. So that's not the way they like to play, and it showed. And yeah, Cardinals just looked fantastic. Hopkins was playing really well. Christian Kirk was playing really well. Obviously, Kyler just absolutely killed it. What looked like he, was reading a children's book when reading the Tennessee defense there. I do think Tennessee's better than this. I think they'll bounce back, but Cardinals are coming out and trying to make a statement. So we'll see if that's a fluke or if they are the real deal now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and you definitely do not sleep on them. We have to go to break, and when we get back, we're going to start right off with the Seahawks Colts. You're listening to Dan D'Antoni Sports. We'll be back in just about 1 minute. And we are back, second half or second part of our episode. This is Dan D'Antoni Sports. We left off last talking about Cardinals-Titans and that route. Not a very entertaining game, unless you really like watching the Oakland A's first-round draft pick from 3 years ago, go off at quarterback. But let's move on now. A closer game, Seahawks-Colts. Russell Wilson, 254 yards, 4 touchdowns. Carson Wentz didn't look like the absolute piece of trash he is. 251 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Carson, 16 carries, 91 yards. Jonathan Taylor, 17 carries, 55 yards. I just want to do a quick little aside. What are the Colts doing at running back? Because I feel like everyone agreed that Jonathan Taylor and Marlon Mack are the 2 running backs that the Colts are going to keep, and then Nyheim Hines is going to be traded or released. Like, that's like almost consensus among everybody. But they just extended Nyheim Hines.
They made him a top 10 paid running back in the league. What a joke.
All right. So, my thought process here is, it seems to me that the contract is astronomical. It doesn't make any sense given where he is, and I agree with that entirely. However, my thought process is the fact that they're trying to, one, Indianapolis is not entirely sold on having Mack or Hines behind Taylor to make it a change of pace back. I think there's no argument in Indianapolis' mind that Jonathan Taylor is the go-to guy 9 times out of 10. They want somebody to switch it up. I don't know that they're sold between either one of the ones behind that. They wanted to hold on to Hines, and they feel like they could. 2 was that they could hedge their bet, because if they get the Hines the touches and Mack his touches, if one emerges, they can trade Hines' contract off to somebody who will give them something as long as he does well. It's a risky bet, but that's the only logical reason for doing so.
Right.
I don't think you can, after giving him that much money, especially with a pretty large amount of it guaranteed. You literally, I think, could have paid him half of that, and he would have accepted it. Like, I don't think there's any team in the league that's looking at Nyheim Hines like, man, I wish I had Nyheim Hines. He's so much better than everyone else in the league that I want to pay him.
Baltimore right now is fucking 2 practices away from having to need him.
That's a very good point. Very good point. Yeah. He's good. Definitely quality, backup. I don't know that I want to rock with him as my starter. But, like, I thought, Jonathan Taylor, before he was drafted, I thought, if I'm the Colts, I feel pretty good going into the season with Marlon Mack as my starter and Nyheim Hines as my backup. Like, I felt good about that. And then you add in Jonathan Taylor, and I'm like, yeah, they got Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, and Nyheim Hines. Wait a minute, who carries 3 running backs? Like,
yeah, no, it doesn't add up, and I don't see them carrying 3 for the entire year. But I mean, who knows what happens? We've already seen key injuries go down. I think that it may be a situation where Indianapolis is thinking, well, maybe if Mack performs, we can trade him. We're still on the lot for the money right now with Hines, but he solidifies himself as a 2. We can get something for Mack. Like, the only way that you do that is by thinking that you're going to trade that one of those 2 at some point during the season and get something out of it.
Yeah, that's got to be their thought process, because I don't know.
But it's a gamble. You're literally rolling the dice.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Anyways, let's continue on with the stats. Receiving, their leading receiver was Tyler Lockett, who only had 4 catches. But those 4 catches were for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. So,
yeah, one of those catches I think was like a 70-yard touchdown.
69 was his long.
I'm pretty sure he's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked good. Colts defense should definitely be worrying after this game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Maybe could have invested some of that money in defense. Just saying.
And their offense.
He's literally Lockett is literally just put up a performance of Keyshawn Johnson's book. Just give me the damn ball. Like, he didn't need it that many times. Like, just give me the ball. You know what? Under 5. Give me it 4. I got this.
If I'm the Colts offensively, I'm not feeling so hot, having Jonathan Taylor be my leading rusher with 56 yards and also my leading receiver